What is going on, everybody? We are here for a brand new episode of our F122 Driver Career Mode on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we head to probably what's going to be the craziest race of the season. It's Austria. We got a sprint race, we got the normal Grand Prix on the way, and unfortunately, what we don't have on the way is some upgrades to really propel our car forward. So we're kind of coming into Austria with the same kind of car we had in Britain, but probably not going to be as quick because some teams have made some more upgrades around us, so it'll be interesting to see where we stack up, or line up I should say, here in qualifying. But nonetheless, looking forward to this one, and I gotta say, this track is so dank with the AI, and it's unbelievable that you look back at F1 2021, the AI issues present from that game at Austria are still present 1 year later, or almost 2 years later, in F1 22. I have a word for that that I'd like to use. I call that unacceptable from Codemasters, as that should never be a thing that can go over into another game. The AI, there will be multiple safety cars at the bare minimum here today in Austria. It's just the way it works because the AI are so broken with the whole pit lane and whatnot, and Codemasters seems to have not cared. So nonetheless, you can see dead last in free practice one. I kind of did practice really quick because we have a sprint race, trying to wrap things up as quick as I could in the pre-weekend stuff here. Now as we come through though into qualifying, and not really sure what to expect. The pace didn't quite seem to be there, and you look at some of the circuits, and I think back to I don't even remember what circuit it was, but it was 3 or 4 episodes ago where myself and Schumacher had a higher speed circuit. I don't think it was Baku, but we really struggled on pace. I had a few concerns that we would have that same issue here because Austria, very high speed circuit. So nonetheless, here in Q1, it was going okay. It felt like the lap was relatively consistent. You can see the icon there on the right side. So my gearbox is pretty worn, but I was trying to make it through this weekend before I switched it out. But we were currently P8, but by the time we came through to set our final lap, we were P11. We had found about another 10th of a second, lost some time in the final corner, so we only gain not even half a tenth of a second, and to my surprise, we would end up P19. Absolutely embarrassing result here in qualifying. Now, I knew that our lap wasn't, to its potential, but I didn't realize it was that bad, and Schumacher as well out in Q1, so it looks like both of us kind of struggling here as we have a lot of work to do. Thankfully, we do have a sprint race, which is guaranteed to bring chaos, so it is certainly not hope all lost here because there's going to be a lot of things happening. Let's head to the pre-show for the sprint race.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Lando Norris, and Sainz, Perez, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Pierre Gasly, Tsunoda, Bottas, Esteban Ocon, and Albon, Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll, and Guan Yu Zhou, Golden Boy, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Ready to go, lights out here for the sprint race. Simple, starting on the medium compound tire for 12 laps of racing. Let's head to the formation lap.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint. As all the cars take their positions on the grid, the final preparations have been made and all that's left is for the drivers to deliver on track.
Alright guys, not where we wanted to be starting for this sprint race weekend, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a wild one, so just going to try and keep the car clean and in one piece, and I think we can get a good result out of it. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. We're ready to go. Lights out here in the sprint race in this Haas, just behind the Alfa Romeo there of Zhou Guanyu, fellow rookie on the grid. We got our Canadian teammate, you could call it, behind us there of Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. But we are nonetheless ready to go racing here. Max Verstappen, your championship leader, who's kind of fallen off a little bit lately. Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes with Russell have been kind of taking over, but it's Verstappen on pole, and he gets a great launch, way better than Russell, but Hamilton gets a better launch than both of them. He's going to attack Verstappen, go around the outside here into turn one. Hamilton to the lead on the exit of turn one. That was a kind of a Max Verstappen kind of lunge and attack, but this time it's Lewis Hamilton doing it on Max Verstappen there. They've certainly learned after racing each other in 2021 here. Up the inside, Charles Leclerc sends one as well up the inside of Max Verstappen. What a move there from Leclerc. 3 wide, multiple rows of 3 wide cars running into each other. I'm absolutely sure somebody got some wing damage out of that mess right there, but nonetheless, we continue down the straightaway towards the fourth turn, this right-hander here, and I was just trying to settle in myself and kind of let the chaos ensue in front of me. You can see me, I'm actually dead last. I got passed by even Latifi. You see Russell and Leclerc going at it right there. Verstappen goes from pole to P4 here in this opening lap, and we've been kind of paying attention to Mercedes. They've been kind of taking over here, and Red Bull has just been kind of falling off a little bit after winning the first 6 races of the season. There's an AlphaTauri right there. That's Pierre Gasly heading into the pit lane, and there it is. We have contact with the McLaren. I think that might have been, who was that? Lando Norris or Ricciardo? I think it was Daniel Ricciardo that picked up mega wing damage right there, and that is going to bring him into the pit lane. And what is happening here? We got a Ferrari and a McLaren going inside of each other. That was Norris right there, so it was definitely Ricciardo with the wing damage here now. So there's another car, so that's going to be 2 free spots, but now the attacks start. Here I am going alongside Lance Stroll here as we head up towards turn 3, and you see Latifi's going to attack Zhou Guanyu, but we got 2x2 right here. Schumacher currently in P15. Do keep in mind he missed Q2 as well, so not much of an advantage that he has over us here. Now yellow flags in front of us as we come towards the end of the second lap, and there is calamity in front of us here. What is going on? Bottas is wide. I think Bottas is out of the Grand Prix. Yes, he is. He has got a major issue. He's going to be done for the day, and now we're going to go and attack his teammate of Zhou as we head down into turn 1, backing out of it though, and then out of nowhere, there goes Stroll to my outside. Latifi way off the pace on the exit of turn 1. We get back going. DRS wide open. Drag racing here as we head down towards this run through turn 2 down to turn 3. Could we send one up the inside of Zhou Guanyu? Yes, we can. Wheel to wheel with the front axle there of that Alfa Romeo. Some debris scattered across the track right in front of us right there as well, but we get clear of Zhou, and it was actually Fernando Alonso that picked up that wing damage that you just saw there laying on the track, and you're going to see right here, he actually just pile drives into the side of Lando Norris, who was having a fight with the Red Bull, so he was in to replace his front wing. Another spot for me, and then look at this, Lando Norris runs into the back of Alonso at the end of the lap when Alonso was coming into the pit, so that's also another spot for me. And then yellow flags here, lap 4, Alex Albon in the Williams with a mechanical failure, so he's going to be out of the Grand Prix. So now up into P12 we go, and now side by side with Esteban Ocon, and we're up into P11 if we can complete this pass right to the back of the teammate there at Haas of Mick Schumacher, and him and I have been going back and forth race after race. It feels like of who can finish better, who can qualify better. He beat us in qualifying. We'll see what he can do in the actual Grand Prix. Now as Mark comes over the radio and tells us we might have an issue. I did not change the gearbox, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was what would be ending up that would fail. It was 64% worn, and now it's just a waiting game. Is Mark going to tell us our race is over, or is he going to tell us that the issue is like an engine issue, but we can resolve it? We're about to find out momentarily, I'm sure. You can see the gap, though, between myself and Schumacher was up over 3 seconds at this point. He was outpacing me hard here. Now they're fighting behind us, and there it is. We have a severe issue. Find a safe place to return to the pits. Our race is over. I'm still actually driving, and then there it goes right there. We lose control of the car in our day. Our sprint race is going to be over at the halfway point here now, trying to stay out of the way my AI is of these drivers, and Stroll gets the short end of the stick on that one. But it's going to be Lewis Hamilton actually going to win the sprint race, so a great start to the weekend for him, as it's an abysmal now start to the weekend for us, as we're going to now have to start at the back of the grid from the main Grand Prix, so it's going to be very difficult. You see George Russell ended up P2, Verstappen actually back on the podium there with Leclerc and Sainz for Ferrari 4th and 5th. Ferrari still seeking their first win of the season. Could they do that this weekend? Does not look like they have the pace, but now we are going to head to the grid here for the main Grand Prix and hopefully work our way forward from the back.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Perez, Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Vettel and Esteban Ocon, Joe, Stroll, Nicholas Latifi and Norris, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas, Albon and Golden Boy. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Now let's kick off our conversation with Alex Albon. They've got that grid penalty to worry about, of course, which puts them on the back foot from the get-go.
Yes, it's not the position you want to be in at the start of the Grand Prix. Penalties like this put you in amongst the traffic. But we know they have more pace than those around them, so I expect they'll make some strong progress in the first few laps.
Now ready to go, lights out at the back of the grid. I'm expecting safety cars in this one, but it's a medium to hard compound tire strategy. Let's go to the formation lap.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Alright, let's put yesterday aside and focus on the task at hand here. This is going to be a wild one. We saw it yesterday, boys, so let's make it happen. An interesting season. It has been ups and downs, some retirements with these mechanical failures here and there scattered in between as we are ready to go racing, as it looks like Valtteri Bottas is a little bit too excited to go racing here. He's going to do a whole burnout like he just won the World Drivers' Championship all of a sudden. So Valtteri Bottas getting to the grid here in style, to say the least. And I think it was supposed to be in front of me. I don't know, but nonetheless, there's an empty grid spot in front of us. We are lights out and underway in the Austrian Grand Prix, and it's a drag race between Hamilton and Russell down into turn 1. Hamilton got the lead in the sprint race from the outside. He stays out in front this time, and now Max Verstappen is going to try and continue to follow with that slipstream from the British driver, the 7-time world champion, now 100 plus wins here in Formula 1, and you can see Russell going to continue wheel to wheel down into turn 3 with Verstappen. Who's going to get out of this fight ahead? Now you can see Hamilton pulling away from this battle, but it's Max Verstappen who's going to take that second runner-up position currently as well. You can see Perez there back behind a few extra positions. Now we continue to just kind of keep a close eye on these Red Bull drivers today. Do they continue to just kind of fall down the order like they have been in the R&D, down to struggling with Ferrari in that second, third area, compared to Mercedes, who's just kind of taking over all of a sudden? You see Lance Stroll gives up the spot to Fernando Alonso now, as I myself once again was able to kind of just settle in here in these opening moments of this Grand Prix. We did actually get past the McLaren, so there was one positive. So Ricardo Bottas behind myself, repping P18 behind Alex Albon. He had an actual mechanical failure there, if you remember, in the sprint race. So he is back here in P17. We'll look to pass him momentarily. Lando Norris wide in the final corner, so there's a free spot, and you can see Albon had to back out of it as well. So now we're going to pass him down into turn 1. This is going to move us up now into P16, and our good friend here, Pierre Gasly, who we have been having some tussles with, and not so friendly tussles with here recently in this My Driver driver career mode. You can see yellow flags ahead, lap 2, penultimate corner. That's an Alpine. Esteban Ocon's completely crashed out. The yellow flags are out, and the safety car will be deployed for the first time here today. And here's the replay. So Sebastian Vettel's trying to pit, and well, Ocon does the thing that I mentioned the AI would do. They are terrible with the pitting here, so he would be out of the Grand Prix. It's Hamilton, Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, your top 6, as we would get back racing pretty quickly now, actually. But Lando Norris, I should mention, actually ended up as well out of the Grand Prix during like the safety car period, so his day was over. Now lap 6, 2 guys out of the race already here. Pierre Gasly just in front of myself here now as we have his slipstream on the run through towards turn 2 and 3, but we didn't really have much pace for him here on this opening lap. You can see Stroll and Latifi, the 2 Canadians, getting at it here. Now I want to make it 3 Canadians here. Here I come up the inside now with Gasly as well as Stroll, and we're going to be able to get past Stroll, but we're going to continue side by side with Pierre down into turn 1. Latifi right now in control of this little battle. You can see Gasly as well on the soft compound tire, but we get past him nonetheless and set our focuses on Nicholas Latifi. And by the time we come through to lap 8 with the DRS in our favor, we are going to be able to pass our fellow Canadian here down into turn 3. He is going to take a lunge back at us up the inside, but it's not going to really be worthwhile for him. So up at a P11 just by keeping the nose clean. You can see some more cloud cover coming over the track. Lap 10, safety car deployed for the second time. Didn't see any crashing. Nobody's out of the race. What actually happened is what you see right here. Daniel Ricciardo completely misses his braking zone and drives right into the back of the car in front of him and tears his front wing off. So everybody floods into the pit lane other than the 2 Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton and Russell both remain on the track. I think they just threw this race away. And look at this, Max Verstappen having to wait for the 2 Ferraris there, as I would as well come in and put on a set of hard compound tires as we would get ready for another restart. So we were down to P13, so we gave up a couple spots out of that, but I wasn't too concerned. And actually the safety car period gets even crazier. Max Verstappen out of the Grand Prix during the safety car. His engine has failed actually, so he is going to be out. Red Bull's struggles continue after a dominant start to the season. Schumacher drove into the back of Verstappen as that happened, and then look at this, Tsunoda as well contact with Verstappen. So once we go back racing, these 2 drivers are going to have to come into the pit lane. They were both running like P6, P7. Schumacher having a great day, but we would get back racing on lap 12 coming to 13, and both Schumacher and Tsunoda into the pit lane. Very unfortunate there coming to the end of the first lap of racing. You can see again debris flying all over the place. This time it was Sergio Perez's front wing, and he was trying to find a way into the pit lane, but you can see the chaos he's causing. We get past Alonso, kind of catch him off guard. Zhou Guanyu just in front of us. A terrible final turn allows me to attack on him side by side. The 2 rookies battle it out, and Fernando Alonso trying to take us both to school as we head down into turn 1, 3 wide in the middle, and somehow we come out on top of that battle for now nonetheless and try to set our sights ahead. And you can see other drivers coming into the pits here. Stroll, Bottas, these are guys that had not pitted yet as well. Lewis Hamilton, he stayed out under the safety car period, and George Russell did too, so he had to pit. So I would end up getting into the 3rd position somehow. I was so confused about everything that was happening and taking place here, but with the chaos of drivers getting wing damage and some pit strategy mess, we are up in a podium position. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, P1, P2 right now. Ferrari have not won this season. They might change that here today. We're P3, Gasly P4. You can see Hamilton as well as Russell trying to move their way forward and get past Sebastian Vettel as George Russell right now. Some contact actually with the Aston Martin. Only about 10 laps to go, though, in this Grand Prix, and we're in great shape here. 4 seconds ahead of Gasly. Hamilton's on the hard compound tires, so if he gets past Gasly, it'll be interesting. I don't think he's really going to be able to gain a whole lot on me because of the time and tires that he is wearing trying to pass Pierre in the AlphaTauri. So I think we have a nice advantage. Here's Mick Schumacher, by the way. He ended up picking wing damage right there, so he had to pit again for a new front wing. So it's been a miserable Grand Prix for him after a great first half. He had us in the first half, not going to lie now. As Hamilton, sure enough, moves up into P4, and Russell would continue his fight with Gasly for P5 here as we came through to already lap 33 of 36, cruising to a podium. 4 seconds, the gap between myself and Hamilton. It was closing a bit here now, and now it's really gonna close because we've gone spinning with 3 laps to go. A big mistake from myself, a rookie mistake. Hamilton goes through, takes P3, we are P4, but Gasly has a lot of speed. He is coming at us. He's gonna pass us. Nowhere to be seen is George Russell. He actually got front wing damage battling with Pierre Gasly and had to come back in for a brand new front wing. So now we were P5 as we came through to start this final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix, and I was not going to let Pierre Gasly beat me after wrecking myself. So I had to make sure we pulled this off, running up over that sausage curb. Always dangerous when you go over that one, but now DRS wide open. Here we go. We're going to go to the left side. Gasly leaves just enough space to make it happen. Here we are wheel to wheel as we head down into turn 3. We're going to hopefully get the run off the corner. We don't get as much grip as I was hoping, so it's still going to be a drag race. It's the NHR right here in Austria now. As we continue though ahead with the DRS, Charles Leclerc is going to bring Ferrari their first win of this season in Red Bull's home turf. So a big statement that Red Bull is continuing to struggle. Only one car on the points, and it's Perez right now in 9th place. Sainz P2, Ferrari 1-2 here as we're going to hang on for an unbelievable P4 here in Austria just by surviving and staying out of other people's disaster, mess, whatever you want to call it. So a great effort here, and it's again races like this that are going to get us on the radar for a top team next season as we're going to head to the podium celebrations. Gasly with driver of the day here in Austria.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
It took, I would say, longer than I expected for Ferrari to get to the top step of the podium this season, and you know, they do it in fashion at least. They go not only P1, but they go P1, P2, with Hamilton as well on the podium, and most importantly, the World Drivers' Championship leader, Max Verstappen, out of the Grand Prix with a mechanical failure. Red Bull only putting one car in the top 10, with Perez having his issues with the front wing damage as well. And I'm not going to lie, after the first, 6 races that Red Bull absolutely dominated, winning every one of them, either Verstappen or Perez, they were both winning. I'm pretty glad that they're starting to struggle now, because it's starting to make this championship pretty interesting. It's getting a little bit more and more interesting every episode, and it's a slow kind of progressing closing of points between Verstappen and Hamilton and whatnot. So I'm very excited as we finally get into this midway point of the season. Summer break not too far away. I'm so excited to see how it goes. And you see, Hamilton's only 3rd in the standings. He's still got to get past Leclerc, who just won today. But that is going to wrap it up for us here in this episode. Look at us up at a P11 in the standings now, comfortably ahead of Schumacher after another great day. P4, Haas up into P7 in the Constructors. And the next one, we head to France. I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.